Well, this is probably my favorite perspective of the cottage on the hill is coming down Dewey towards the north and seeing it kind of sitting perkily on the corner, jauntily maybe. So what we're going to talk about today is overseeding the berms on my lower terrace. We are not going to overseed the area between the sidewalk and the street. This is just going to naturally go dormant. It's Bermuda grass. It will go brown, and that's fine with me. What I don't want to go completely brown, and not so much for now and in the winter as for in the spring.
Right.
I want to have a beautiful spring green lawn canvas upon which my spring show, my azaleas, my tulips, my pansies, all of that will play. So that's kind of where we are right now. And I have Kayla with Cityscapes here, who needs no introduction. Kayla, come up here and let's describe what's going on. So you may notice that last week it was a brilliant green.
Yep.
And now it is a dusty brown. Okay, so why is that? What have we done?
So yesterday we sent the guys by to do the normal mowing, but on the hill we have scalped it. We've cut that Bermuda grass just about as low as we can go without exposing all of the dirt, right?
All of the dirt.
And that way our seed can penetrate through the Bermuda grass and come in contact with your existing soil.
Okay, now let's stop right here because I do have Bermuda and I am overseeding it with a perennial rye, not an annual rye.
That is correct.
A fine-bladed perennial rye, that's very important. And this year I am using what variety?
Championship.
Championship, okay. So just to do these two berms on either side, about how much seed is that going to take?
I've got it estimated at 2 pounds.
At 2 pounds, okay. So, so we have scalped the lawn. If, let's say I had a fescue lawn and I was trying to rejuvenate it for the winter and next spring. And by the way, we're doing this now because the temperatures, particularly the nighttime temperatures, are now reliably below 70. It's
correct.
Cooler.
Yes.
The daytime temperatures are still warm enough and sunny enough for the seed to germinate. So we have the perfect storm, if you will, for seed germination and growth.
Yes.
Okay.
If we get our nighttime temps too hot, it just dries out.
Dries out too quickly, we introduce fungal problems.
That's right.
Okay, so back to what I was saying earlier. If I had fescue and I was doing it, talk to me about scalping.
It would basically be the same process. When the guys are on your yard doing it, any places that we find thatch, and you'll find that in fescue lawns too, that's a buildup of clippings below the surface of the grass. We will rake that up and expose the dirt. Fescue grass, you're going to see that thatch occur probably a little bit more in the mowing process. Okay. It's going to throw the thatch on the ground when we're scalping it, just because it's a wider blade grass than Bermuda grass. So a hand rake. If you had an area that just got scorched in the summertime, or we had a fungus and it just killed this big area out, you've definitely got to get all of the dead clippings off of it. Rake that soil so that way when we seed and come in and top dress it, soil and soil's making contact.
So at this point, the scalping, the prep is all about seed to soil contact.
Absolutely.
We want to do everything we can to optimize that. Now, in the past, just so you'll know, Kayla is helping me do that this year. Now, in the latter years of living at my former home, I had a synthetic turf. But I did this myself, my little self, for years. 4
Yes.
years. I scalped it, I overseeded it, I top dressed it, I watered it, I fertilized it, I did all of that. So even though, and my front yard was not prohibitively large, and my backyard, so it was possible for me to do that. But whether or not you want to do it yourself or you want to have it done professionally might very much depend on the scale and the size and your physical stamina to be able to do that kind of work. I could have easily done this myself, but I'm busy doing other things. So Kayla is going to do it for me. Okay, so we have scalped it. And now what's the next step?
The guys will come in and we'll look for any divots, right? Low spots that we need to kind of level up. And for the most part, your yard, we took care of that in the spring, right? When we were trying to...
when we were restoring it and getting it back to good, healthy conditions.
But you can see right here is one, right there. It's just a little low. It's not terribly low, but we'll just come in here and put a shovel or two of good rich mix right there, and then we'll put our seed in.
Now let's talk a little bit about the application of the seed, because I've talked about this ad nauseum, I think. When you are doing small areas like this, we do not want to use a broadcast spreader.
That is correct.
A broadcast spreader is a walk behind push spreader that literally broadcasts
it's got a
seed everywhere. It's got a rotary.
Yep, rotary mechanism, and it's going to send that seed probably 10 feet, 5 feet in each direction at least. We're not using that on yours.
No.
We're gonna do it by hand.
Because I don't want all that seed going into my flower beds.
Right.
So you could use a drop spreader, and describe what a drop spreader is.
Okay, a drop spreader, it is exactly what it says. It just has basically a hole on the bottom of the bucket that holds the seed, and has a lever that'll open and close to tell us how much seed to send out. And you simply push it, and that seed just drops everywhere that it's in line. So if your spreader's 18 inches wide, you're going to get an 18-inch path.
And the other thing is the application rates will determine the setting on your spreader. So if you're not familiar with that, don't let that intimidate you. The bag will tell you what to do. Likewise, sometimes if you find you've got really good germination in one area, but another area isn't germinating, maybe that seed has washed away for one reason or another. Maybe the birds have gotten to it, and you can go back and you can just sprinkle a little bit more seed in those areas. If you do not own a walk behind spreader, or even one of those rotary handheld rotary broadcast spreaders, those are things that you can find at your garden center. You can rent them, you can borrow them from a neighbor, or you can do like Kayla's guys are going to do, and they're just going to hand broadcast it.
I mean, if we're doing just a small area like this, you can hand broadcast it and do just as good a job as you could if you were trying to use a drop or a rotary spreader and keep it out of the gardens.
Okay, so why are we doing it now in the fall and not in the spring? Well, because it gets just horrifically hot here in the summer, and we want to get the seed down and growing and sending out a root structure before the winter and it gets too cold, and before the summer heat. That's particularly crucial for fescue. Now for rye, why I'm doing rye and I'm not overseeding this with fescue is because fescue would give me too much competition, and I want my Bermuda turf to look good in the summer.
Right.
So the rye will not give it that much competition, and as soon as it gets really hot next season, what will we do?
The ryegrass will start dying back depending on what our temps do. But typically it's going to start showing signs of dying back in March. So there's a couple of ways you can handle that so that you don't have a spotty yard,
Okay.
right? You can come in and you can lightly spray that ryegrass while the Bermuda is still dormant with Roundup.
Okay, but we don't use Roundup.
Right, we will not do that.
Right.
You know, but that will take care of kind of the spotty look and it'll let the Bermuda come on up. We're not gonna do that. We're gonna come back in when that spotty look becomes too much for us. We'll come in, we'll scalp it all, and then
Let
we'll—
the Bermuda
That's right.
take over. Now, typically for me, what I always did in the past was in February, because I really wanted to green up for Easter and for the spring, I'll come in with an organic granular fertilizer like Milorganite.
Yes.
And I typically put that down in February. And it will stay green over the winter, but it will brown some. By an application of Milorganite in February, that will make it really green up just beautifully. And then typically what I do is I just wait till it really feels like it's starting to get hot. For me, around the 1st of May. And that's when I cut it shorter, force that rye to go dormant.
Force it to go dormant.
Force it to go dormant, and then feed the Bermuda to really come
force
out
it to start growing
and thrive.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the cycle of what we're doing. So let's talk back again about what do we do after the seed is down.
Okay, we're gonna come in and we're just gonna put a real light skim coat, if you will, I use Rich Mix. It's a combination of a good dark rich soil. It's got a little bit of compost in there that will break down with watering and just kind of naturally fertilize it. I am going to fertilize it with a Milorganite.
With an organic granular.
Yep, it'll just be an organic fertilizer. We're gonna get a little cool over the weekend, so we wanna kind of keep that soil warm. Little bit uncharacteristic that we're gonna see, you know, possible lows in the 30s in early October. So we're gonna give it a little, you know,
a
a little boost.
insulation.
Yep.
A little insulation. Now, the other thing is we want that seed to germinate. And I have seen rye seed germinate in as little as 3 days.
Yes.
If you have good prep. What that means is to get good germination, if the weather continues like today, which is an absolutely gorgeous,
Beautiful
cloudless day, this is one of the only times that you want to water frequently and shallowly, because we want to keep that seed moist.
That's right.
Because that will enhance germination and make it germinate that much more quickly. And before you know it, it's one of the most fun things. You can come out and you can just see this like sheen. It's like Ireland, this little sheen of green. Now, Kayla is going to top dress this in some rich mix with a little Milorganite. You could also, and this is what I used to do, I used to save the grass clippings from when I scalped the yard, and I would use those grass clippings, those, and I would just kind of sprinkle them over the surface of the yard. That did the same thing. It kept moisture in, it kept it warm. It also keeps birds out.
Yes, and on you know, a terraced yard like you have where it's so steep, that grass clipping, rich mix, some people have even used straw or hay. It will keep that seed from washing if we do get a real heavy rain.
Right, so it physically, the weight of it physically secures it in place. And then once we get germination, hopefully, unless there's a gully washer, it will be pretty good to go. So then I will have a green to semi-green yard pretty much all winter. And then when I fertilize it in February, it will really green up and it will look beautiful for the Easter show. Have we forgotten anything? Let's talk about seed sources and then we'll close this out.
Your seed came from a local vendor.
Okay.
Eckroat Seed is where I got it from.
Sometimes you can find a perennial rye even at your local garden centers, like independent garden centers, or major box stores, Home Depot, Lowe's. Just make sure that you get the right type. Always get a little bit of extra.
Leah's behind me and scared the crap out of me.
Sir, don't use that kind of language. So this is pretty much what is going on here. The timing, the window of time is typically around September 15th to the end of October, but it's one of those things, it's dictated by the weather. Watch the weather. And of course, you could also do the same thing in spring. It just probably isn't going to be as thick, as lush, and as enduring as it would be as if you did fall overseeding.
Right.
Thank you, darling.
You're welcome.
Well, how do I love Encore azaleas? Let me count the ways. And I want to focus on two different things. Number one, their reliability, because temperatures have just soared this year. These are newly planted, as I think I have told you 1,000 times. They were installed in the spring in March or April, and their reliability throughout the summer in the intense heat and enduring our cold temps that sometimes get down to -18 has just really made them a stalwart for my garden. So I think the hardest thing about working with Encore azaleas is deciding which of the 30 colors that you want. Now, all of these, and these are all carnation. This is a beautiful pink. I think it's just spectacular, and these blooms look beautiful, even though happily they got rained on yesterday. So it's putting out a mild flush because they are America's favorite reblooming azaleas, and they're putting out a mild flush for this fall. I did not fertilize them right after they bloomed in the spring. That's something that I probably should mention. If you are going to fertilize them for fall bloom, you don't want to do it any later than 2 months prior to your earliest average frost date. So for me, that's October 15th. So I would not have fertilized them prior to that, nor prune them. But what I love about them is they are frost tolerant down to zone 6 or 7, depending on where you live, and some varieties are more so than others. But look at all of the new growth. All of the new growth that these have put on in one season. It's just amazing to me. When you do prune them, let's say you prune them after bloom in spring, do not prune them before bloom in spring. Every time you make a cut, as it puts out new growth, it's also putting out new buds, which is why they are reblooming. They have really handled this heat, and they are also handling, or the Oklahoma heat, but they're also handling this location, which is morning sun, because they want at least 4 to 6 hours of sun a day. And if not, they really don't bloom as profusely. This is the perfect location, I think, for them. It's east facing, and they get afternoon shade from our really brutal sun in the afternoon. So that's number one. They are just really reliable. Number two, I think they're just a great investment planting that you can plant this fall in anticipation of them being an absolutely gorgeous backdrop to your tulip bulbs, to whatever spring flowering bulbs that you plan on having in their full drama next spring. So their reliability and the fact that they're an investment planting for both color in spring and in fall makes them a no-brainer to me. The hardest part, really, for any type of plant in my garden is getting something established. But once you get these beauties established, they are a really crucial and I think perfect highlight for your garden. One of the things that I love about my neighborhood, which is Mesta Park / Heritage Hills, is that so many of these homes I have worked with in the past, helping them with their gardening, helping them with styling, just different things like that. And a few years back, Stuart, you may remember it, we did a wonderful fall porch makeover in combination with Southern Living and Gardener Supply, and it was so much fun. And it was a house that was just a couple of blocks from here, but it was jam-packed with really great ideas using some Southern Living plants, but also using some products that helped transform it and really make some magic in this front porch decor. So we're going to reboot, we are going to rewind the clock, and we're going to go back and we're going to show you that one again. Hey guys, and welcome. I'm so excited to share with you this project today. It is the perfect kind of thing to tackle on a day when there's kind of a hint of fall in the air. There's a gentle breeze. It's really going to be just the perfect kind of conditions to stage this porch for the season. We're going to really show you step by step how we transform it into an absolutely fabulous place where this young family can hang out and enjoy, especially after the temperatures cool. I'm going to fill lots of containers with fall color, a bunch of southern living plants that look beautiful for this time of year. I've already gotten kind of a head start. I put a hedge up front, just right in front of the railing, of baby gem boxwood and some arborvitae. I might even plant some window boxes that'll be spilling with fall color. I think by the time we get finished, it's going to be the envy of the neighborhood. Well, yesterday I picked out the assortment of plants that I wanted to use. They all have a great kind of fallish vibe. And then I started planting up a lot of pots and a lot of containers that will continue with some of the work that we've already done. We installed a beautiful, strong line of baby gem boxwood right in front of this white railing. It's a great color contrast, and it will really kind of ground and frame the porch. And then on both sides, we punctuated the ends with these fluffy Fire Chief arborvitae. They're going to turn a great fallish color as the temperatures get a little bit cooler and the light a little bit stronger. And then I put two matching pots on the middle step. They're both a lightweight, have a lightweight wicker look to them. I love the way the white matches the white of the porch. And I've got one on one side that just has a great, really kind of deep autumnal red to it, which beautifully accentuates this lime sizzler fire bush, both in foliage and in flower, that I planted in this larger version. I love a smaller Fire Chief that just kind of cascades over the side, a little fluffy, and kind of lends us some softness to the rest of this structural vibe that we've got going. And then I planted some mums here. And then, because I wanted it to be a little bit more dramatic, I potted up another deep red mum that will balance out the one on this side. And then, because I wanted a real exclamation point at the top of the steps, I trimmed up into a gumdrop shape a larger Fire Chief arborvitae that will be the perfect kind of exclamation point on this entire composition. I think the way it's going to greet visitors is going to be really dramatic, really colorful, and really seasonal. So I've established this really great theme in these pots coming up the stairs, and I want to continue that theme as you approach the front door. So I'm framing the front door with these two great planters. They're double tier wrought iron lightweight planters. I got these from Gardener Supply too. And basically what they're going to do is just beautifully frame in a symmetrical way the front porch, and they contain that same color palette. So as kind of the star of these arrangements, I planted two orange rocket barberries in here. I love the way they grow vertical, and I love the way they will kind of blow in the breeze a little bit, and they add a delicacy, I think, to the more rounded, mounded look of the other plants. So I just continued with the mum theme. I put some of these russet red mums in place, and then I also added, and notice how these torque really easily, I also added some more of the yellow mums, but this time I added some red, yellow, and orange ornamental peppers, and then I repeated that same lime sizzler firebush over here, which also has kind of a delicate quality to it. And I love the color echo of the red in the foliage and the red in the flowers with all the other things that are going on. As I said, I love the verticality of them and the way they frame the front door. The beautiful contrast there is against the white facade of the house, how it really, really pops, and from the street you can really appreciate that high contrast. I also like these because that wrought iron repeats the wrought iron in their mailbox. I really like to replicate a component that already exists. I think that makes for really good harmonious design. And so we've got a great start and a great welcome to the porch. So again, along with my theory that if some is good, more is better, I decided to plant up some window boxes that are going to accentuate one of the best things about this porch, and it's this wonderful white railing. So I potted up 3 of these, and they're really going to be just so beautiful and eye-catching from the street. These pots are lightweight. And I planted them all the same because I really want to establish this wonderful rhythm of autumnal color and vibe all the way across the front. So I've got these in place. Let me tell you how I planted them. I went ahead and I repeated the same kind of airy, delicate quality of these orange rocket barberry. I added some of the same ornamental peppers, some mums. This time I added some crotons. But what I love about these planters is this time I added some blush pink nandinas. These were all in gallon sizes, so they fit perfectly into these window boxes, or these railing boxes, I guess. And I love the way they soften the edges. And they also have just subtle color to them in that kind of blush pink, maroonish color that beautifully harmonizes and echoes the orange rocket barberry. What I also love about these planters is even though they are really dramatic and they give you lots of drama from the street, they also provide a little bit of privacy. So when this family is sitting here enjoying the porch, even though these are kind of ethereal and you can see through these orange rockets, they nevertheless have kind of a sense of intimacy that I think will really enhance the time that they spend on the front porch. So let's bring it all together because it's all about porch life and porch living after all. So the homeowners already had these 2 great chairs. They're really, really comfortable. I removed the table that they had prior to this makeover because it was a little bit too small in scale and a little bit too small to be functional. So I added a table that's a little bit larger in size so that they can actually dine out here, have friends over, and there's a little bit more space. I also love the way the detailing on it accentuates the plants that we've already got surrounding the entire seating area. Then the other thing I wanted to do was give a vertical element to the corner that would kind of create a sense of enclosure and would also hide some of these extension cords and some of the wiring that we've got going over here for these charming cafe lights that are strung all around the perimeter of the ceiling of the porch. At night, it is absolutely magical. So this Forever Goalie is going to be just brilliant. I planted it, or I'm going to plant it, in a really large version of the white wicker planters that I used on the front porch, so everything really speaks the same language. This will stay compact, it won't get too tall, it won't require pruning, and it will be cold hardy enough to stay in porch on this porch year round right where it is. On the other end of the porch, the owners had installed a charming porch swing that just really is just wonderful. And what I love is that these window boxes that give a little bit of privacy on this side also give a little bit of privacy on the other side if somebody is wanting to have a loving moment on the porch swing. So that kind of brings it all together. It is absolutely charming, and I think the homeowners are going to use the heck out of it this fall as soon as temperatures really cool down. Well, I wanted to share this outfit of the day with you because we're just about getting ready to head into holiday travel season. I'm doing some traveling for work, and I really want to be comfortable in the process of it, especially on a plane. So my sister Meg, she contacted me about this ensemble, and she said it would be perfect for traveling. And indeed, I agree with her, because it will be like wearing pajamas on the flight. It is so, so comfortable. And I like the fact that it's in a couple of different pieces that I can mix and match with other things in my wardrobe. It's just an easy care knit. As I drop my sweater, it's an easy care knit that I'll be able to just literally just wash and wear. Now this is short sleeve. I believe that also comes in a long sleeved option. I know on the plane I always get cold. So I also bought online a sweater that's got kind of a Chanel quality to it. I love the gold buttons. So when I arrive at my destination, I'm immediately going to be going out to dinner, and I think I can kind of dress this up with some beautiful earrings from Orchard Jewelry. These are the Mille Fleur earrings that I love so much. And then I've got just some suede black booties that I got at Land's End. And then a bracelet and some earrings. Yeah, bracelet and some earrings. And yes, you guys, for the occasion, I even got a manicure. I bought these online too, and I just kind of love it. So I think it looks very, very nice and will be dinner appropriate once I reach my destination. But while I'm in the air, I want to be comfortable. So I do have a layer to keep me warm on a cold flight. And so if I want to style it down a little bit, I can just tie the sweater around my waist. I can exchange my booties for some comfy color-coordinated tennis shoes. I can take off my jewelry and store it in my bag so that I won't have any problems going through security. And that way the outfit can easily segue, looking kind of sporty and very flight comfy cozy, to looking very dinner appropriate once I arrive. So I wanted to share this with you guys because the price point is just great. It will be brilliant for the holidays and travel. And I can, like I say, I can dress it up or I can dress it down. So I really wanted to make sure that I shared this outfit of the day with you guys. Okay, here's a little behind the scenes because we just shot a sponsored video for Manakora Manuka Honey, and we made hot toddies.
Cheers.
Oh my gosh, they're absolutely delicious. And we're feeling pretty comfy, cozy. It's not quite cool enough for blankets, but almost.
I could fall asleep right here. Right
yes,
now.
definitely Leah could fall asleep right here. So I want to talk a little bit about something that is now my new absolute obsession, because in addition to a number of things that you guys already know that I'm obsessed with, I'm really obsessed with throws. I've talked about it before. I think I've talked about it in a previous video. But these are such a good deal.
So nice.
As I was, getting my stuff ready to zhuzh and style the backyard, I wanted a stack of blankets for outdoors that were in these hues, these kind of natural hues. And I looked and I found these online. This may be the best deal I have found in a long time. These were like anywhere from $25 to $35,
Wow.
depending on the color.
That is
and
crazy.
they're washable, and they're 90% wool.
They're so heavy.
They are so heavy, and oh my gosh, I just think they are wonderful, and they're very, very comfy, cozy. But look how beautifully
The
they will all
texture.
stack together.
Yeah.
All of these colors look so rich and vibrant together, and the stitching along this is in our classic caramel color for this month. I really wanted 4, and I wanted another solid color, but there wasn't another solid color, but they have great plaids too, so I think I got one in kind of a buff colored plaid, large plaid. I might even need more than that because I anticipate we're gonna be spending so much time out by the outdoor fire pit.
They're so easy to just grab and take out.
They're so
here.
easy to just grab, but tell me what else you thought they would be good for.
I mean, I have so many. I thought these would be great for dogs. They're like, you can tell they're good quality. They'd make a good little dog mat to lay. I also think if you're having an outdoor wedding in the fall, and you
Oh my
want
gosh,
guests to
yes.
stay warm. I go to a
Yes.
lot of weddings, and to have these
Yes.
for guests to grab as they're going to take their seat or anything, just
Yeah.
to stay cozy.
And you know what would be a really cool idea if you're having a fall wedding? I'm thinking of that because it would have been my in-laws' wedding anniversary on October 4th, this past October 4th. And what a great gift for wedding gifts or for maids of honors
Yes.
or groomsmen, and especially if you had them monogrammed.
Yep.
These would be beautiful monogrammed, but what a great price point.
So
I
affordable.
can't believe this. So these are also on my Christmas list because they're economical enough that I can buy them in sets. And so I think I am going to get a set for my Colorado kids.
Yep.
Hopefully they're not watching this video, but if they are, yes, every year, okay, but they probably are.
Watch this time of year, guys.
Yes, they probably are, but I absolutely love them. And now I can tell Leah probably is going to want some too. And like I say, the hardest part is deciding what colors you want, but that's why I had to select one
I
of
love
every
this
color.
color.
And of course, we will put a link below, but these will, again, they're not only cozy, but they will just look so wonderful as we style the back living room. I can see them on the table, on the chairs, and they'll just be wonderful. Now, the other thing, I guess it wouldn't be our channel if we didn't mention right now our absolutely favorite sunglasses,
Oh,
Leah.
yes. I
So-
got mine in the mail, and I'm obsessed with them.
Yes.
So.
Okay, so take them off. Show us your pretty
Spill
eyes.
my drink.
Yeah, but what I love about them is, again, just how secure they are.
They are,
So these are great stocking stuffers. Now, you're going to see this video today and tomorrow. A heads up. It is Amazon Prime days coming up. So I'm going to be selecting some items to buy myself for different kinds of gifts and things that I still need for the cottage. I think even Stuart is going to be putting together a list of some of
Stuart's
his favorite, like electronic things and I don't know,
new
home
camera,
security.
Stuart.
Dude stuff, I guess.
Yeah, dude stuff. But
There's lots
it's
of good deals.
it's eliciting a giggle from Stuart. So
Yeah.
so good things. Anyhow, we want to share those things with you because I, for one, I don't like to get out and Christmas shop that much. In my neighborhood, I do, but other than that, I don't. So I am somebody who likes to shop online, and then I enjoy the process. Like my friend Deborah, the most competent person on earth, she is already gift wrapping some of her Christmas
Oh
gifts.
my gosh.
I know, because she buys all year long. I have not evolved.
Yeah.
I have not seasonally evolved to that point, but I did want to share you guys with these blankets. This is not a sponsored post. I just got these, you guys, and I absolutely love them, and I could not believe how high quality they were for the price and the fact that I believe they're washable. So there you go. I just wanted to share that with you guys as you head into a really, hopefully, comfy, cozy, hygge kind of week. Okay, now let's talk about a favorite topic of mine. I got my jewelry on to match my ensemble, but now I'm putting jewelry on some of the surfaces in the back patio area. So I bought some carriage lights, and of course I will put the link below, that I'm hanging on either side of this window. And yes, the window will be cleaned up, the sticker will be removed, all of this will happen in due time. I'm going to get some kind of either battery operated or solar powered light bulbs to go in, because I did not want to hardwire them in because it would have been prohibitively expensive to get electricity to this facade, the eastern facade of the garage, and I don't want to do that. So another thing that we discovered in the process of hanging them was that, remember, this is a 1930s house, so the grout lines weren't exactly equal on both sides, and I have something that is called, what kind of brick, Stuart? Bark brick. So we couldn't penetrate the bark brick, and we needed to use the grout lines. But since the grout lines weren't exactly even, when we hang the fixtures, they are not going to be exactly equidistant on both sides. Does that bother me a little bit? Yes, it bothers me a little bit, but not that much. It's one of those kind of things that if someone pointed it out to you, you'd notice, but if they don't point it out to you, you probably wouldn't. The other thing that compensates for that is I imagine in the future that there will always be something kind of growing in and around this. And so I've decided it's one of those things I can't do anything about, so I'm not gonna worry about it. I'm just not gonna let it bother me. But I think it really lends a certain kind of appeal and just a little bit more of a grace note on the outside of this window. Likewise, you can see over here, Stuart, if you do a pivot,
Go around that way.
you can see that they are also hanging one, just one, not two. They're hanging one on the right side out of the back door. And then we also will be hanging two, or actually they've already got one hung here. We've got, I think we're just gonna hang one here, one on the right side of the garage door. And then once the window, the casement windows are painted gray, which I've made arrangements for, then we will also put a top coat on anything like this garage door that looks less than its best and has some peeling paint. Over here, that is also not hardwired in, but it's okay. Interestingly, I have plenty of additional light out here. Stuart, if you look, you can see I've got a spotlight up above the casement windows, which illuminates the entire backyard, but also just for task lighting and romantic illumination at night. I have gotten my string lights hung. You can see that they are hung through the cedar trees, and we will put links to these below. And then I also have hung them, don't get dizzy as you spin around, Stuart. And then I've also hung them on the fence behind the pottery shelf. And so these are solar powered. Again, I'll put a link below, but once those are powered up, I'll have that illumination in addition to all of my solar powered tea lights and other candles. So there will be more than enough illumination. I'm actually using those more as jewelry during the day, just so the entries and the windows don't look undressed or unfinished, like they needed something. But having a little bit of light coming out for them will be nice too. But from a practical standpoint, I have sufficient lighting in the backyard, whether or not those are operational. So those are the things that we're working on today. But you know what, Stuart? What are we gonna do after this? What are we gonna do after this, guys? We're having a long-awaited, Sergio, burger party. Yeah. We're gonna have this is my first entertaining that I'm doing in the backyard, and it's only appropriate that it's all my peeps that helped bring this all together. So Kayla is going to pick up some burgers from the local burger place, Tucker's on 23rd, and we're gonna have burgers and fries and drinks, and we're going to partay. Maybe we need to put on some music. What do you think, guys?
Yeah.
Okay, we'll put on some tunes. So there you go. Let's take a little break here, Stuart.